right. Mic check, mic check. All right, looks like we back in things. Everything's looking good. What's happening with y'all, man? You know, starting to get a little better at this, starting to, get these skills up. Um, I want to kind of, continue on with with the process of what it takes to, grow and get to the development that you need in your manhood when growing up with just a single mother. And, the part of this whole thing that I'm doing is basically to give the information to the young men, who don't have a father in their life and they want to grow and they need the steps that it takes to get to where they want to be. And basically, what I've been doing is just crafting up these different steps that it takes for you to get to where you want to be. And being somebody who has overcome it and put themselves in a good situation, I want to use this information to give back to you. The information that I'm giving is basically, I'm trying to give it from the perspective of, if I gave it to myself, the younger version of me, and what I wish that somebody was able to lay out this blueprint for me, and hopefully it helps you along the way. So where we left off at on the last stream was we were talking about finding valuable men, worthy men that you can look at and say, hey, this is what I want to be like. This is who I want to look like when I get to a certain point in time in my life. And once you come across these men and you're able to be selective of who it is that you want to learn from, and I think that life will kind of put these men in your path. The next step is to what I call, and what a lot of the old heads that I used to listen to call, is getting off the titty. And basically what I mean by that is, in this process of finding the men that you want to be like, you have to slowly detach yourself from your mother. More than likely, you're a mama's boy. And it's kind of by default because your mom is your mother and your father, in a way. And so you kind of craft your life in pleasing her, making her happy, and trying to be the best that you can for her, for the most part, unless you're kind of going through some other things. But for the most part, you're going to be somebody that is looking to please your mom. And this can be a good thing, but it also can be a hindrance. And so in the process of you finding out, okay, this is what I want to look like, the next step is, how do I get there? Well, then I should learn from them. And so in order to kind of wean yourself off of being a mama's boy and being on the quote unquote titty, you have to first say to yourself, what is it that you want to master in this life? And when you go to school and when you're around people, most of the time, everybody's going to try to get you to look at school as your outlet and make you think, hey, I'm going to graduate high school and then I'm going to go to college and I'm going to get a good job. And that is, for most people, their road to mastery. And I don't think that that's not a good road, but I also don't think that that is the only road. And we live in a day and age where, your skills can be valuable to the world if you know how to do it. And we'll kind of get into that later on. But the first thing that you want to start doing after seeing the men that you want to be like is you want to discover what it is that you want to master. You want to say to yourself, this is what I want to be when I get older. I want to look like these men, but here's what I want to do. And for me personally, what I thought is it was sports. And usually when you grow up in a single parent home, you kind of idolize certain figures in life. And so they kind of, you know, lay the path for the road that you want to take. For me, it was sports. It was something that I always gravitated towards. And I thought, okay, sports is going to be my way out. Sports is going to be my way of making a better life. It's something that I love to do. And if I end up being good enough at it, then I could get paid for it. And before I get paid for it, more importantly, it'll pay for school, because if you grow up in a single parent household, more than likely you're not going to have the funds that are available for you to go to school. Now, the government might do things here and there, but you're going to be in a lot of debt if you don't find a skill to get you into school. And in that process, you have to realize, okay, here's what I want to be good at. Here's why I want to be good at it. One, because I enjoy doing it. And hopefully it's something that you enjoy doing. It doesn't always have to be something that you enjoy doing. I just recommend that it is. For me, I thought, okay, I'm going to do sports. So that is what I decided to master. I went and played travel ball as much as I could. If I wasn't playing travel ball, I was playing at school. If I wasn't playing at school, I was playing in my off time. If I wasn't playing in my off time, then I was practicing at home. So it has to become basically a lifestyle for you. And once you figure out what it is that you want to master, this kind of helps you break away from being under your mother's wing. And this will help you start developing these masculine skills that you need to develop, and the independence that you get from not having your mother around. And because you're not going to have a father figure there that creates standards for you and pushes you, you're going to have to start doing it yourself, or these men that you have placed in your life that you want to learn from, hopefully you can have them become these I would say like generals in your life that kind of give you standards to meet. And so if you don't have that, then you have to become that for yourself. And you have to say, okay, here's what I want to master, and this is what I'm going to do to master it. And you have to create a schedule for yourself of how you plan on putting in the time and effort to master it. They say that in order to master something, you have to put in your 10,000 hours. And so I think that the earlier you start, the better. And a lot of times the world will say, oh, you'll figure it out as you go, or, it'll come to you. And I don't think that you should lollygag this in life. I don't think that you should take this by chance. I think you should look into yourself and find out what it is that you are really interested in, and plan on mastering that, and put in the effort and time to master it, and find out what it takes to master it. After you discover what it is that you want to master, then you have to start learning. One, you want to learn the craft. You want to take time to study the craft, but you also want to learn as many crafts as possible. And you want to learn life skills. And what I mean by this is, what you want to master is going to be your life's purpose for the most part. On the journey to your life's purpose, you should be gathering different skills that you can take with you along the way. Like when I was talking about taking the skill sets from the men that you want to be like. You want to take the skills that you see these men, and you see the skills that they have, and you want to gain as much life skills as possible. You want to learn how to be self-sufficient. You want to learn how to keep your place of living organized and clean. You want to learn how to work on a car and change a tire if it comes about. You want to be able to learn about as many life skills as possible, learning about finances, learning about where to shop. You want to just learn about as many life skills that you possibly can. And in that, you're learning about your craft, and you can take these life skills and put them into your craft. And so I think that learning as many life skills as possible, for me, the person that I got my life skills from was from my grandfather. My grandfather was the one who taught me how to cut grass. He taught me how to maintain a garden or maintain the plants around the house. He taught me how to dig a hole and use a shovel. He taught me the difference between a flathead and a Phillips, like little things that are life skills that you want to be able to take with you so that when you're on your own, you can, draw from these skills. And so I think that finding a man, finding that idol that you deem the worthy man that you can give your most time to, who can teach you a multitude of skills, you want to spend as much time with them as possible. And then on top of that, you want to find other people that you can draw skills from. And it doesn't necessarily have to be men as well. You can draw life skills from other women as well. You just don't want your mother to be your end all be all as far as the knowledge that you obtain in life and the skills that you learn about life. And that leads into taking up an apprenticeship is basically what I'm talking about. That's what encompasses everything that I'm saying is you want to take up an apprenticeship with as many people as possible to gain as many skills as possible. You want to learn about stocks. You want to learn about insurance. You want to learn about healthcare. You want to learn about as many life skills as possible from as many people as possible. And hopefully you can get that from one person. But if you cannot, you want to, put these skills out to as many people as possible and draw from everyone. And when you take up this apprenticeship, it comes with putting in the time. Don't look for these people to come to you to give you knowledge. It's up to you to go to them to get the knowledge that you want to have. Most people in life are more than willing to give away knowledge. It's just that you have to be somebody who's a willing participant in receiving the knowledge. So you have to take it upon yourself to make acquiring as much knowledge as possible about life upon yourself. And you have to make yourself be available to the teachers that you will have in life. And among that, I think that that'll lead into what the next thing will be, which is you want to start reading. Too many of us are preoccupied with things and electronics and things that kind of take away our time, which I'll kind of get into it later of the importance of these things and how they can be useful. But when you're trying to get off the titty and you're trying to break away from being, in your mother's world and kind of like creating your own world, you want to start picking up books and things that you can learn from, not just from people. So as you take your apprenticeship and you're learning from people and you're taking in skills that they've acquired through life and that you get to get as a byproduct of being a willing student, you want to take time as well to read about what it is that you want to master. Read about as many things that you can possibly read about. And I think that you should find your interest in what it is that interests you and read about these things. And the reason why you want to read is because reading is, one, I once heard reading is fundamental, meaning it's fun to mental. But at the same time too, it's good for your imagination and like for you to be able to see things beyond the world that you're in. And I think that reading is a very big um how do you say bridge for these things. Reading, like for me, one, reading was like a way for me to kind of get away from my situation and help me kind of take my mind off of the life that I'm living and feeling like less than, and being sad that I don't have the things that I see other children have. But it also invigorated me. It made me feel like, okay, you know what? There's things that I will be able to do. There's things that I can overcome to make a life for myself that I see myself doing. And I think books are a great way of, helping that imagination within yourself. On top of that, you're going to learn vocabulary skills. You're going to learn the, how do I say it? You're going to learn the language of life. And life has its own language. And reading is the best way to not only make your vocabulary better so you can speak better and talk to people in a way where you're respectable, because more than likely, your skill sets and vocabulary is only going to be whatever they teach you at school. And you want to broaden your horizons, and you want to learn words, and you want to learn skills when it comes to vocabulary that's greater than what just school can teach you. And reading is key to this. And there's two authors that really kind of helped push me into reading, even though I was always just somebody who loved reading. But there were two authors who made reading easy and fun for me. And that was Paulo Coelho, Paulo Coelho, and Robert Greene. These two authors are really, really good authors who have their own writing style, and they're definitely different styles, but they teach a lot of life lessons in their works. And at the same time, they use a lot of words that you may have to go Google and say, oh, well, what does this mean? And you can put these skills into your own vocabulary, and you'll find in life that people will respect you more on how you articulate yourself. And that's how you start gaining the respect of the people around you in the way that you articulate yourself. And when you're able to craft thoughts that are beyond just the realm of life that you're living, it will push you into a realm of respect that, you're gonna need, but two, it's gonna push you to kind of be better. And it's gonna push you to take up your apprenticeship more seriously and take up learning life skills more seriously. And you're going to take these skills and put it into what it is that you're trying to master. And then from there, like, and growing your vocabulary and finding good things to read, you're also taking this time away from the thoughts that the people around you have, and you're learning your own thoughts. You're learning to craft your own interpretation of life. You're learning to think for yourself. As much as you want to draw all of these skills from all of these people, you don't want your mind to be a replica of these people. You don't want your thought process to be a replica of these people. You want to take the information that you can and then craft it into what it is that you want to be and what it is you're supposed to be. In the midst of doing that, an excellent way of being able to break away from home life and break away from the patterns that you're used to is find some hobbies that involve teamwork. And I think that this is essential to your growth, not only just as a person or not only just as a man, but also as a person, more so than just, oh, here's what it takes to be a man. Learning how to being a team, learning how to be a good follower is essential to you becoming a great leader. And if you learn how to work within the confinements of a team, you'll learn how to work in life, because in life, you're going to always have to work with other people. And sometimes you're going to be the best player, and sometimes you're not going to be the best player, and sometimes you're just going to be a role player. And being able to understand the dynamics of a team and how it all works together to be able to achieve a common goal is very essential. And I think that it's something that kind of gets lost, just because you don't plan on trying to make the Major League Baseball team doesn't mean that there aren't skills and life lessons that can be learned in playing sports or doing things that involve a team. And so when you when you have your hobbies, you'll probably already have hobbies, and most of them will probably include video games. But you want to find these hobbies that involve teamwork. So if video games is your hobby, try, excuse me, try playing the game with other people, and try making sure that it becomes a team thing where you have to be cohesive with other people. One, this is going to allow you to start learning yourself, but also how to work with others. And so teamwork is essential in your growth and development into your manhood, because these are lessons that you're going to need when it's time for you to teach someone else. And so if you never know how to work in a team, then you won't be a good leader. If you don't know how to be a good follower, you will never be a good leader. So teamwork is something that's essential. And I'm the type of person who advocates for sports only because I just think that it's very essential for young men, because I think you learn a lot of different skills. But if sports isn't the way, you have to exercise. And so, most of the time your exercise will probably come from PE, or if you play sports, that's where your exercise comes from. So sports is always it's kind of like a two birds, one stone kind of thing. But if you don't, you want to take time out of your day, at the bare minimum, an hour out of your day, to exercise. Exercising, one, is what you probably already know, which is good for your body. But as much as it's good for your body, it's good for your mental and spiritual state. When you're a young man and you grow up in a single parent home, you're going to have moments when you're frustrated. There's going to be times when you're going to be misunderstood because your mom doesn't understand the changes that are happening within you. And so you need to have these different outlets to exert your energy on. And this is good for, like I said, good for the body, because it's going to keep you in shape. But if the body's right, usually the mind follows. And so if you're getting the mind right by discovering what you want to master, taking in all of these skills, reading, taking up an apprenticeship with people that you want to learn from, and you're making sure that your mind is getting developed, you want to take the time to develop the body as well. And as these two things come together, you'll see yourself having more energy. You'll see yourself being more happy, and you'll find yourself being more resilient to the hurdles that life brings at you, because you're playing behind the eight ball. And so exercise is essential. And it also kind of leads into other things, which I'll get into later. But, it kind of helps with the opposite sex as well. So, it's a lot of benefits to making sure that you exercise. And I'm not saying that you're going to have money to be able to go to the gym like a lot of people try to do, or, maybe you watch YouTube or something like that, but you don't have to necessarily leave your home to be able to exercise. You can go get a pull-up bar, You can go get a nice little rolling ab machine. And there's a lot of different home skills, like home things that you can do to remedy for going to the gym. So you don't necessarily have to go to the gym in order to be able to exercise. Just taking a moment out to go take a jog, jump rope. It's you will find how important this will become in your life, and it will help you along the journey. And then you're also building up good habits. Exercising, it has a certain demand on you. You're going to have to build up the habits that it takes to say to yourself, okay, today I don't want to exercise, but I'm going to make myself exercise. It's just little habits and skills that you pick up that it may not seem like it's that big of a deal, but it's going to reflect in every area of your life. And I once heard that how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you take these things serious and you put in the maximum effort that you possibly can, then it's going to create a system within yourself of how you do things. And as long as your name is on it, then it's going to be done a certain way. And so this is why you want to work on mastering what it is that you want to master, picking up as many life skills as possible from every area of life, every area you can think of. If it's swimming, if it's underwater basket weaving, I don't care. Just pick up as many life skills as possible. Get a paper route, whatever, working on a bike, anything you can think of that you could say, this is a life skill, you want to take that up. And then reading and exercising and working on your apprenticeship, all of these things are going to combine together. And on top of that, it leads back to what I was trying to say, which is getting off of the titty. You doing all of these things and giving yourself things to do with your time is going to keep you away from home life. And this is quintessential in you being able to craft your own self and your own path and your own road in life and becoming a man. Because you're doing this without a father. You're doing this without somebody who has given you the blueprint of how to do it. And so now you're creating your own blueprint. In doing all of these things, you'll see whether your mother praises you and pushes you to do these things, or if she tries to hold you back and tries to keep you in the nest. And this is when you're going to have to make a judgment call. There's going to be a judgment call that has to be made at some point where you're going to have to stand up for yourself and let your mother know, hey, I think I know what's best for me as well. And for some of you, this is going to be very hard. And for some of you, it may not be very hard. But there's going to be a point in time in your teenage years when you're going to have to question your mother's integrity. You're going to have to question what it is that she really wants for you. And if she wants for you what you want for you, then you'll be in a good place. But if she wants for you what she wants for you, and she thinks that she knows what's best for you more than you do, and you're getting into your teen years and your later years in life, this is when you're going to have to realize, okay, it's time for me to break away. And one thing that I did was when I turned 14, well, first it started when I was in middle school. When I was in middle school, I knew that we were in a bad situation, and, you know, I wanted to kind of change the dynamics. And I thought leaving the home would help my mother out so she could have, you know, more financial freedom to be able to do things not only for herself, but for my brother. And so I thought if I left the home, then that's one less mouth that she has to worry about feeding. And so I tried to live with my grandpa in middle school. I lived with him for about 2 months, and then my mother came and got me, and we moved away to another city. And so we ended up being there for a while. And then when I would say like around 8th grade, we moved back and we stayed at my great grandmother's house for a while. And after like moving around a lot, we finally settled down. And I was about 14 around this time. And around this time, I started to realize that the things that I want for myself and the man that I'm trying to become, my mother's not going to be able to help me get there. And she's either going to be one of two people. She's either going to be somebody who allows me to pursue what I believe is best for me, or she's going to hold me back. And my mother kind of played both roles at different points in times. But when I turned 14, I decided I'm moving out and I'm going to go live with my grandpa because it's time for me to become a man. My grandpa made it available for me to move with him. And so that's what I did. And so that was my apprenticeship taking place. That was me saying, I know what I feel within myself, that this environment is not going to be conducive to me becoming the man that I need to become. Maybe you won't have your grandpa that you could go do that with. Maybe you won't have an uncle or a cousin or somebody that you could go do that with. But you need to find a place where you can say to yourself, either my mom's allowing me to grow here, or she's not doing what is needed for me to grow here. And at this point, you'll be able to tell what your mother's intentions are. And I think that that's going to lead you to where it is that you decide to go. And knowing that, like for me, I was lucky enough to where my mom was like, okay, well, if you think that this is best, then you can go do that. And so that's what I did. And it was the best thing that I could have possibly done, because I was able to take my apprenticeship of my grandpa to the next level. It went from seeing him on weekends to now I have you every day, seeing the routine that you have, seeing how you conduct yourself, and seeing how you go about life. And now I'm seeing the blueprint of what it takes for me to be able to craft that into my own life. And I think that this is one of the most necessary things that you could possibly do in developing your manhood, is finding a way to be able to break away from your mother. And I'm not saying you need to abandon your mother. What I'm saying is that you need to find time to be able to create your own thought process and craft your own self and your own mind and your own habits that are separated from your mother. And the only way to do this is you can't be her baby anymore. And you're not going to be allowed to be a mama's boy forever. And if you are a mama's boy, I would suggest that you learn how to break away. Because if you don't, you're gonna be playing the race with both feet tied to themselves. And so you're going to hop, and eventually you're going to fall. And so you need to be able to have both feet in order to run this race in life. And so that's basically kind of what I wanted to talk about today in breaking away and getting off of the titty. You want to discover what it is you want to master. You want to learn that craft, and you want to learn life skills. You want to take time to learn and master what it is that you want to master. You want to start your 10,000 hours as soon as possible. Along the way, you want to learn life skills. And as you're doing that, you want to find somebody, hopefully it's one of the men that you idolize, one of your surrogate fathers that you can take an apprenticeship with. You spend as much time as possible with them. In the midst of that, you want to find time to pick up a book and read it. You want to read as many books as you possibly can. This is going to help grow your mind. This is also going to help grow your vocabulary and how you articulate yourself. From there, you want to be able to get yourself into hobbies that involve teamwork. When you get yourself involved in hobbies that involve teamwork, it teaches you how to be a good follower. It also teaches you how to be a good leader. And it also teaches you how to bring unity amongst people for a common goal. In the midst of that as well, you want to exercise. You want to take time to not only build up your mental capacity, but you want to build up your body capacity, because if your mental and your body are both healthy, there is nothing that can stop you. The only thing that would be able to stop you is yourself, or your mother if she decides that she doesn't want to let you grow. But you can break away by getting yourself into a good book and making sure that you exercise. And if you exercise and you're working on your health, this is going to build discipline within you. And building this discipline is one of the building blocks into manhood. And as you get to these points, you want to be able to question your mother's integrity. Question, and I'm not saying that your mother's a bad person, nor is she a good person. I'm not trying to say anything about that, but you want to start breaking away from seeing life through your mother's eyes, seeing life the same way that she sees it. And you want to start seeing it in a way that you can craft for yourself and create your own identity. And once you're able to do all of these things, then you can lead into what the next step would be, which is learning about this thing that we call life and finding things that can push you, that you can believe in, that are beyond the physical. And that'll lead into our next lesson, which will be about learning about spirituality and learning about things that are beyond the physical. But that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully it's something that you haven't already heard of before. And I'm just here to put another stamp of approval on ideas and thoughts and things that you've already come across that you need to, hear, so that you can start processing and saying, hey, obviously this is something that I need to do. So hopefully this was a good one, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you tuning in. And if you know anybody else that needs guidance on this sort of thing, send them to the channel, and I'm going to keep putting out the rest of the steps that I think that it takes to overcome being in a single parent household. So, appreciate your time, everybody. Stay suave. Also stay stupid. All right. Catch you on the next one.